Irma was and is as ferocious as predicted, making that brutal landfall in the Keys and then driving straight up the southwest coast to here in the Naples area. We're being told that storm surge has already begun in Naples, over 2 meters of rising water in just 90 minutes. And that's what everybody is worried about here on the Gulf Coast. Lashing rain and winds started this morning and never let up. The early gusts over 100 kilometers an hour wrought their damage hour over hour. Repeated warnings to evacuate or board up mostly worked. Streets were deserted, leaving an epic battle pitting nature against a built-up southern Florida. And it's too soon to say who won. Miami, spared the worst, was still vulnerable. Winds snapped construction cranes and peeled the roof off this low-rise apartment building. The city, under a tornado warning for much of the day, was inundated by rain. Surging water flooded roads in the financial district.
The water from the bay has started to go inside the buildings, the lobby of the buildings.
Here's how the brunt of the storm unfolded in the Naples area. At low tide, the sea seemed to be sucked back into the ocean this morning. No waves. But Doc's Beach House, a favored sunset spot, expected trouble.
Just checking out Doc's Beach House. You know, it's all boarded up and want to see it one more time. I don't know how it's going to be. It's surge and stuff.
Within 2 hours, the winds had kicked up, ripping into signs and bending trees. It was an effort just to stand upright to document this storm. Mid-afternoon in the Naples area, and the wind and rain is really kicking up here. We're seeing a lot of debris down in the streets already. A power line was down just over here. Trees have been toppled. We're expecting gusts of over 165 kilometers an hour, and they're still hours away. And after the wind and the rain comes the threat of a storm surge. And in the midst of all that, we found a group of scientists setting up their instruments against the wind to measure the force of Irma.
We're out here measuring winds because ultimately we're trying to understand how the fluctuations in the wind field affect loads on buildings.
Just after 4 this afternoon, the eye wall of the hurricane passed directly over Naples, and it was epic. A half hour later, the heart of the storm hit us here in Bonita Springs. Well, this is it. This is the worst of the storm in the North Naples area. Hurricane Irma has arrived. You can see the ferocity of this wind and rain just pummeling this part of the Gulf Coast. Now the worry is the storm surge. How high and how far will that water push on shore down the coast, and what will it leave in its wake? Heather, you can already see this flooded waterway. It's a road just outside the hotel. We're up to a foot of water here. We're waiting around. People are on the lookout for this kind of thing. Tonight, 3 million people are without power, including ourselves. And emergency crews are warning it could take days or weeks to fix that. They're also warning people to stay put. Don't venture out to check on your property because the perils of this storm are still ahead. Heather.
Susan, thank you. Excellent reporting. Susan Ormiston is in Bonita Springs tonight.